Ever since I was a young boy, I've played the silver ball. From Soho down to Brighton, I must have played 'em all. But I ain't seen nothing like him in any amusement hall. That deaf, dumb, and blind kid, sure, listens to Cosmere Chronicles, the podcast we follow two first-time readers, Justin and Sheta, who chronicle their journey through Brand Sampson's Cosmere series. On today's episode, we'll be chronicling the Emperor's Soul, the prologue through day 42. So now, let's throw it over to the host of Cosmere Chronicles. This is Joe. Thank you, Joe. Yep, once again, we're back here with Cosmere Chronicles. As with the typical stuff, my name's Joe, and I'm joined once again by Sheta and Justin.
Howdy.
I was gonna say howdy.
You still can. Howdy, y'all.
Howdy, y'all.
I thought we banned cowboys from this show.
Did we?
I thought we were
Yeah.
all
Well,
about cowboy now.
Well, what can we be?
I'm wearing a cowboy hat. I'm ready.
Yeah, same.
All right, well, let's just move on.
I think you mean
We're-
I reckon we better move on.
No, it'd be more like, I reckon we better get on moving.
Yeah, there you go, Joe.
See? You got it.
All right, but anyways, we're back this week. We're leaving we've left the world of comic books. So quickly, how did it feel to once again be able to read a prose story?
Oh, thank fucking God. It was much better to read it. His ideas come off better in prose, in my opinion, so far.
Yeah, I like it.
Well, as I said, you don't have to worry about having to read another comic book unless something new comes up. But yeah, we're gonna get into this week. We'll start off with our random questions of the week, which everyone loves.
Everyone.
So-
That's right.
Yep, everyone loves them, especially those of you who skip this and jump straight, skip the first 10 minutes to get past this.
They don't realize what they're missing out on, man.
Usually
20
something
minutes of
stupid.
pure bliss.
Yeah, but this week, so first question I'll ask you, what's your favorite YouTube channel?
Besides this one, of course.
Yes, mine is Cosmere Chronicles.
I really like right now Moonlight Cottage ASMR. She does a lot of not just normal ASMR, but like role play ones that are like inspired by movies and things like that. And she usually does all my favorite genres and movies, like Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, even some space ones. So it's really cozy. That's my go-to basically every night.
Say my favorite is one called The Harry Gold Show, where he's an incredibly good artist who will like pretty much gaslight you and make some of the most confusing fake documentaries you've ever seen, like a history of like Mario characters where he'll show how they change throughout the games, but he'll completely redraw them almost perfectly in the style that the promo art is, but as if they looked like the original sprite instead of what they're actually supposed to look like. Or he'll do like talking about the Mandela effect and the Bernstein Bears and draw an entire Bernstein Bears book just to break your mind about it. And then does a lot of like just a lot of art challenge things. It's very funny to watch through.
It hurts my brain to watch those.
Does things like for International Women's Day, makes fun of brands who turn their like male brand female by turning male brands into female ones of ones that are female ones. Like he'll say like Wendell, the iconic Wendell's mascot, turning him into a female named Wendy. So he'll design the male version and then do it the other way. It really hurts to watch sometimes. Your brain just breaks.
God, you just bringing up the Mandela effect just reminds me last week. Just saw this short video, someone talking about the Mandela effect, and then just going through the comments of people arguing about stuff. It's like,
Yeah. It's fascinating. People get so fucking heated about those. It's really funny.
Well, the other thing, it's like people saying, "No, I'm convinced. I remember seeing Nelson Mandela died, and I remember seeing a news story about it."
I'm telling you, I remember hearing it.
No, you don't. He got released when you were like 2.
I distinctly remember reading it though.
And you were wrong. It's a very some of them all right, I could see something. But other stuff, it's very easy where either people heard something about somebody else and just put it onto the person that they're thinking of. Maybe Berenstain Bears, I remember was kind of
Well,
cursive
that one's
writing,
easy. Steen is, Berenstain is a name that's more common than Berenstain. I've never heard Stain before, except in that context. I think that's one of the easiest ones to think of.
All right. And then, all right, so going away from all that, we'll go back with my my YouTube channel. It's gonna have to be Let's Game It Out.
Yeah,
That is one of the funniest channels I can watch. Just one guy named Josh. He'll play a video game, and he'll typically find ways to break it in hilarious ways. And it's almost always like he gets some like a beta version or pre-release version, plays it, finds bugs. So a lot of times the developers, they give him this stuff and they see the bugs, like, all right, now we know what to fix. And like one of my favorite ones is watching his whole, like, I think he wanted to do 9 videos going through the game Satisfactory. And some of the shit he built in there was just absolutely hilarious.
The zoo ones are my favorite. Those are so fucking funny. I love watching people break a simulator. It's so hilarious.
Oh, yeah. Zoo ones. He did like 2 or 3 episodes playing The Sims. Those ones are pretty funny. Or roller coaster ones, usually. Those zoo ones were great. And it's just always fun. You're watching. It's like, all right, now I'm going to do this. And it just pops up many, many hours later. And then just see whatever he did to... All right.
I got to pick a second one because they're almost tied. I can't help it. Which would be The Vile Eye, which is a guy who just goes through different villains from all kinds of random pop culture things, like from random movies, video games, TV shows, pretty much anything, and just goes through and takes one villain from them and does a deep dive analysis of their entire backstory and everything that's their motivation for why they do evil things. And he'll do things from things like a cartoon like Samurai Jack to like a modern movie or something, to just pretty much any character that people want enough. It's really interesting to see the scope he does, because he doesn't just do the trending ones, but he does a really good job and researches a lot for him.
Oh God, what does he get when he goes into the Marvel or DC characters that have like 80 years worth of backstory to deal with?
The one thing he doesn't touch upon that much is comic books, because he'll go for he'll do like the Joker from the Arkham series or from the movies, but he'll usually just take into account the specific continuity, not everything. I would love if he tried doing 80 years of comic history. I think that would be so fun, but so far not yet. Maybe someday. Oh, Sheta, they got a Thomas Shelby one you can watch. Yeah. I haven't seen that one yet because I haven't finished that.
All right. And okay, now the second question we're going to go over will be who are your top 3 just favorite fictional characters?
Great. Well, speaking of Thomas Shelby, he's one of my favorite characters.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was one of your favorites.
Yeah, from Peaky Blinders, if you haven't watched that.
Why is he so cool?
Just think, I don't know. I think it's the way that Cillian Murphy plays him. Just like every aspect of his character was like invented to make this character the coolest character. Like how he holds his cigarettes, to how he drinks, to walks, to like says anything. Like it's just all so curated to make this character the coolest, like, bad guy character. And then it's Anakin Skywalker. Just for I don't know, I just love him. I don't want to have an essay on every one of them. It's self-explanatory.
Give a sentence explanation. It's not self-explanatory.
I just love his whole arc, like from being Darth Vader. Spoilers. To
Spoilers.
It's a prequel.
But I did not expect to like him so much in the prequels, but ended up really liking him too in his character in the prequels and in like the Clone Wars cartoon and all that stuff. Surprisingly, like a really good character that was knitted together from all these different medias and things. And I guess I picked kind of two kind of villains for my favorites, but
I'm
my
sorry,
other
did you say kind of villains, Sheta?
kind of,
Anakin, you've got half his life he wasn't a villain, but Thomas is not a good guy.
but he's our hero. We follow him. We want him to
Protagonist.
win. Yeah,
Sure.
and he's not bad.
Oh, God.
All right, my last favorite character, but not last on the list, just of the three, is Monkey D. Luffy from One Piece. Now he is a ultimate hero. Well, actually, he's a different kind of pirate. So,
Oh, God.
God, shut up. I hate you so much.
She doesn't mean it, folks.
Yeah, I don't mean.
I thought she didn't even watch the live action show.
She
I just know
hasn't.
you hate that quote.
Well, he would hate being called a hero because he doesn't want to share meat.
Yeah, he may hate it, but he's a pretty damn good hero, whether he wants to be or not.
Well, he frees people on every island he goes to.
Yes.
He doesn't like jerks and bullies. That's it. Yeah.
Any other reasons?
I just always like heroes or characters that can always be relied on to show up and kick ass no matter what situation you're in. So
yeah, as all three of those guys do.
Yeah.
All right, for my list, I'll start off with another Star Wars character, Palpatine / the Emperor, both versions of him. I just think, why you laugh?
Because I thought I had villains on my list. You have
oh yeah, no, my guy's
villains.
the ultimate villain. He's so evil. He's one of the most evil characters I've ever seen. He fucking loves being evil. He's always laughing his ass off when he's being a jerk, getting all angry when he's losing for half a second. I like his I liked how they turned a character who was already so interesting in the original movie into being one of the most legendary characters in all of pop culture by grabbing the same actor to play him in the prequels as the kindly old chancellor and all that. And I love his whole arc together. What's that?
He started a huge civil war and was the leader on both sides of the war.
Yeah. He's just such a great character, so unlikable and yet so charming without trying to be charming at all. Just so incredibly likable. He's like the closest we have to the devil, I think, as a character, And I love the way he talks. My second pick is going to be a character who's quite derivative of him and him from the last movies, which would be the Elusive Man from Mass Effect, who you just also always see sitting in a chair and giving you missions and with kind of a shady side to him. I just think he's... What's that?
The entire time playing the game, all I wanted to do was kill him.
I think he's fascinating because he's kind of a bad guy, but not a bad guy because, you're forced to work with him because he's the only guy taking the real bad guys seriously. But, because of his... He's one of those guys, he's got his humanity first rhetoric, and it's very... It can bring you in and make you support that idea. We're not racist against aliens, but then you see some of the shit they're doing behind the scenes, and it's horrific shit and not even good for humanity, too, a lot of the times. I think he's just super fascinating. Plus, I don't think anyone's ever looked cooler, even Thomas Shelby, sitting there and smoking, Sheta. I think Elusive Man is a cooler smoker than he is.
No way.
Completely and utterly inspired from Cancer Man and X-Files. I just think he's just a great
Smoking
character.
Man, isn't it? Is it?
They call them both, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And he had Martin Sheen voicing him. That helped.
Yep, he did a great job. Real awesome. Yeah, I think he's got the perfect level of coolness to draw you in, but he's actually kind of a loser the more you get to know him, which I always find very interesting, kind of like the Emperor. Then my last character is nothing like those two. It'll be Gag Gardner, the greatest of all Green Lanterns, who I love because he is a good guy and a great hero, but he's an obnoxious douchebag asshole all the time. Makes you want to hate him and underestimate him, but he's, in the modern day, usually portrayed quite competently and cool. That's mainly in the mainline DC comics, but I don't think I've seen a portrayal of him I didn't like, including the new movie. So that's lucky for me, because a lot of characters you like, they can be portrayed like shit outside of it.
What about during the time period when he was Warrior?
Fuck yeah, man. I'll take it.
I thought you hated that.
Oh, I fucking do. If I was reading at the time, I would have. One of the things I like about that character is the more cringe and unlikable and annoying he is, the more pure to the spirit of the character he is.
All right.
There's no threshold.
I haven't seen it crossed. I'm sure there is. I haven't seen it crossed yet. I mean, a guy who can get away with that bowl cut for a long ass time and still be a popular character, that's fucking impressive.
Especially a guy where his first appearance was just some what if this happened story from the 60s and where he died in it and then was brought back in the 80s. All right. So I guess for me, mine may be a little bit more basic because so one of them will be same thing as Sheta, Monkey D. Luffy. He's just, especially when I first started One Piece, he turned out to be so much better than I figured the character would be. I thought he was just going to be another one of the, just a, dumb protagonist, just does stuff and just kind of bland. But he turned out he does just do dumb stuff. He is kind of stupid, but he's not really bland at the same time. He actually is a really good character. Another one will be, we all had a Star Wars character, so I guess I have to put in my Star Wars character of Luke Skywalker.
Also,
Yep,
very
just
good.
the, typical heroic story, him going through, but I like it where he just, in Return of the Jedi, he just kept hope and faith the entire time. Going up against the Emperor, against his father and stuff, and he just throws down the lightsaber at the end. It's just like, no, I'm not gonna join you. I'm not gonna kill my father. I'm a Jedi. And then the EU stuff with him going in there, I've liked that. Ignoring the new Disney stuff, that stuff doesn't count.
We all know that.
What stuff?
That's Jake Skywalker,
What
according
stuff,
to Mark
Hugo?
Hamill.
Yeah, nothing
Just the fact
happened.
that
All
the
stopped
fact-
at the end of
the-
the prequel.
the person who is willing to, no matter what, still believe that there's good in his father, that he can save Darth Vader. And then, I had a dream my nephew was evil, so I pulled a lightsaber on him.
Well, Joe,
not
good
connect.
writing is taking everything that's expected and then not doing that. That's called good writing. And you expected Luke to act like Luke. So when he doesn't act like Luke, you're like, wow, this is really deep and insightful. This is good writing.
What do you take me
no.
for?
But the old EU books, which now are called Legends books, the way he's written in there, it matches the character. It's pretty good. I'm still in the middle of reading them. I was reading them like a decade ago. I stopped, and now I'm getting back into it again. So right now I'm in the middle of Planet of Twilight. All right, and then my third character. This one's been harder for me to figure out.
Yeah, I have 2 guesses on who your third one is, Joe. We'll see if you go a different direction. I don't know.
Well, there's one that it would have been, but I can't say it anymore because I'm too embarrassed.
What is it? I want to know.
Well, that one, a couple years ago, easily would have been Spider-Man, but it cannot be Spider-Man anymore. Zeb Wells has made me embarrassed to say that I like Spider-Man. So, the other one, I guess I'll just have to go with Superman. As I said, my choice is kind of basic, all just like much more good, traditional good characters, but I still enjoy reading that in story. I always like Superman, just the guy that's typically hope and just stands up for what's right. Which is also why I like the newest movie, because that felt like Superman. It wasn't trying to make him all dark and gritty like the Zack Snyder movies did.
I thought Man of Steel and Batman v Superman was the one you were specifically saying was your favorite, Joe.
No. As much, I don't hate those movies. I still think they're fine movies I can put on the background when I'm doing something else.
But you didn't like Ultraman in those movies? You would have preferred Superman? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. The extended cut of Batman v Superman does make him a little bit better in there.
Fuck that. Superman considers giving up hope in humanity. 0 out of 10. That's my opinion on that movie. Superman doesn't detect a bomb 2 feet from him. 0 out of 10.
I said it made it better. It did not make it great. It just gave a reason for why the hell he was choosing to fight Batman. It gave instead of him just being angry and fighting him, it actually gave a reason for why he was going down that road. And one that made kind of sense. Alright. But that's enough of all that stuff. And then we'll just move on to back to Brandon Sanderson. So we'll go back to the Planet of Cell and the novella The Emperor's Soul. So, I'll ask you too. We've read about half the story now. How are you guys feeling about it so far?
Interesting. And yeah, and like we already kind of said, it was the way the story is told makes it a very different read too.
When I first started it, maybe it's just because I came out of the White Sand book or comic. I did not expect to like it. I found way too much exposition too quickly, but the more we got into the lead and the world and stuff, I found myself very captivated by this magic style and the world and characters we're following, or the not world, but you know what I mean, the area of the world we're following. Very curious to learn more about it.
I really like the magic so far too. As an artist, I really like it.
As a writer, I really like it. I think it's really interesting, the idea of trying to get to know things so well, So it's interesting that you say that.
Yeah.
Like really get in the head of this guy.
Doing all the research and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think of that.
And the idea that you've got to actually take seriously what could have happened to slightly change things. I wonder if this is an autobiographical thing Brandon Sanderson's writing about when he needs to switch ideas mid-book to make it believable within the world.
Oh yeah, and then I just need to throw the warning in there because since we're doing Emperor Soul, well, not for us, just to people listening, is once again, if you're just jumping into Emperor Soul because you're like, hey, I read that, I want to see their thoughts on it, keep in mind that due to the nature of this podcast, there's a chance we may talk about anything else that takes place in any of the other stuff we read. So, we've read Elantris, we've read the Mistborn trilogy, we've read Warbreaker, we've read White Sand. So there is a chance that we may wind up spoiling something in any of those stories. So
specifically if you've already Elantris, right?
Elantris may be the most likely, but yeah, there's other stuff from the other ones that, because we always wind up just talking about how this character compared to that character or stuff like that.
Yeah, it got me wondering about if there's any underlying connection between the two styles of magic if we're in the same world. So yeah, I definitely thought about that. Specifically with the way they underwrite and change reality. It makes me wonder if there's a connection or not.
Yeah, and in fact, I will bring it up later in this episode. There will be a connection between the two magics I will bring up.
Yeah, I feel like there is. I wonder if it's different paths to the same idea.
Kind of thought that with the kind of building of the magic, like how they drew aeons a bit. Like she kind of artistically makes her forgeries and stuff.
Yeah, the drawing of it, the artistry of it. I thought that when she references that she always kind of in her head thinks that some of her marks look like her homeland, that made me think of that. A lot of little things I thought were interesting. I wonder how much of that is just going to be our random conjecture and how much will be something.
Well, that was the part I was going to bring up.
There you go.
When she done with the stamp, she always has to put her stealing mark, and she thinks this looks like my pawn, which is where she's from. So it's because the plan of Cell, the magic is kind of location based. So kind of like how Elantrians, the only people who could become Elantrians were either people from Erelon, Teod, as long as they lived in Erelon, or people from the northern Dula place. So it's only people in that location, and then in order for the magic to work, you also had to start off drawing Erelon with the Aeons. So she's in a different part of the world, and she has to use where she's in part of the world on some of her magic. And we don't know how it looked like, but we did know that the Dakor monks on their bones, they said they found markings on there, their own little sort of rune things. We weren't told or shown what those looked like, but I could guess that maybe it's gonna somewhat look like, the Fjorden or whatever their actual homeland was called. But that's just a guess. All right. Well, we'll dive right into the story then. So we start off with the prologue, and we're with Gautona, and he's looking over a painting, and the painting's actually a forgery. It was almost perfect, even with the strokes being the same way that the strokes on the original painting are. But he could see that there were slight inaccuracies that it took the experts days to even find. Like a moon was slightly off and stuff like that. This forgery was made by Wan Shai Lu, who has been captured. And he's an arbiter, and then him and the other arbiters are talking about her, and they're saying that she is one of the best forgers alive, and she should be executed. Frava, the leader of the arbiters, says that she is a tool, and they must save her to use her. Galtona wonders why someone who could do this well of a painting would become a forger. And he agrees with Frava, and they will meet with Wai Shai Lu and use her skill, or lose control of the Empire. And that's the prologue.
That was very fast. I'm so used to reading, these full books. This seemed like it was like a kid's book. It was so fast.
Anything else about this prologue you two want to go over?
No, we didn't really know what was happening yet, so I didn't really have any thoughts on the subject.
All right. So we'll go on to the first chapter, which is called Day 2. Because, as I said last week, this book, each chapter is a different day, and we're going to get told how many days there will be. So it just, with all these days going by, it just kind of makes me think of Kingdom Hearts 358 over 2 days.
Nerd.
Justin, you've played those games too.
Yeah, but I didn't reference them.
No.
I would never make a nerdy reference.
You were talking about Star Wars earlier.
Star Wars isn't nerdy.
You were talking about Guy Gardner earlier.
Hey, he was in a live-action movie recently. Everything I talk about is hip and well-respected.
You were talking about Mass Effect earlier.
I've seen your waifu shelves.
What do you mean? I withdraw my comments.
All right. Here we go. So, Day 2. All right. This one, now we jump over to Shai. And she's in a cell that's built into the floor. And she's walking around it, and she's touching the walls and identifying all the rocks that were made to use it. And she thinks that you need to know something's history and nature in order to be able to forge it. She uses a fork that she has bent in order to carve some notes onto a wooden leg. And Shai figures that she will be executed tomorrow, so she needs to create a soul stamp and escape before then. She knows it will be difficult because this cell is specifically designed to stop forgers. And then some guards come in and tell Shai that the arbiters want to talk to her and drop a ladder for her. And as she's being led by them, Shai thinks about how she had come into this palace to swap the moon scepter with the forgery she had made. But she was betrayed by the Imperial fool who stole the real moon scepter, and she wound up getting caught because of that. Shai recognizes one of the guards as the man who put her on their horse when she was captured, and he says that he will enjoy killing her. As they're walking through the hallway, Shai sees that the palace has urns and doors that are made to look like ancient art by using forgery, and she just thinks of the hypocrisy of all of it. Technically, only forging a soul is illegal, but they still treat all forgery as if it's off or wrong. And she thinks that if one would flip over one of those urns, they find a stamp on the bottom, which then they could remove, and the urn would turn back to its original state. And Shai is brought before the arbiters, and she can tell from the way that Frava is talking that Frava wants something from her. Shai also takes pride in the fact that they believe that her forgery of the moon scepter is the real one. And then Frava pulls out the painting that Shai had made and asks about it since Frava has the original painting in her room. Shai explains that she was going to swap the paintings if she was not able to get to the moon scepter, just a backup plan. Frava tries to threaten Shai, but Shai can tell that the arbiters are worried about something. So Shai just outright says that, yeah, you want something from me, so let's discuss my payment now, and that annoys Frava. Because Frava tells her that her payment will be her life, but Shai goes on to explain that she was going to escape that night anyways. She tells them that she has identified all 44 stones in the walls of her cell, and Frava is about to speak with a smile. And then Shai goes on to say that she knows about Ralcolest, which is an unforgeable metal, which would have been behind those rocks lining the wall. But she was going to turn the rocks into anthracite, which is a rock that burns, and have it burn away the Ralcolest, and then escape. This is all a bluff, though, but it appears that Frava buys it.
They say a little bit later, but I think it's really interesting how this character is a forger, and her whole thing is half the stuff she says is lies and manipulation. I think that's really fascinating, even though it's pretty straightforward.
And then Frava has a box brought out, which contains 5 soul stamps, which are just like a couple inches long of just a stamp. There's also a leather-bound notebook which contains 5 Essen marks, which are attuned to a specific individual, and these are intended to rewrite their history, personality, and soul for a short time, and all 5 of these are attuned to Shai.
Man, all that fucked up soul shit again. I get so uncomfortable with using magic on souls. I don't know why. I'd feel just like these guys.
I think that's one of the points he wants to make.
You think so? He seems so cavalier with it, with his character's beliefs on it.
The way he takes the like how dark he goes sometimes with it, I think it's on purpose. Like, I think it's scary. It makes it kind of a dark fantasy.
Or maybe.
Yep, and each one of these Essen marks took Shai years to make. And Frava tells her that giving these back to Shai will be the payment, and Shai agrees to the plan. And then we jump a little bit later, and Shai is poking Emperor Ashravan in the face. And he is currently, like, comatose, or I guess he's awake, so he's more like brain dead. And Gautona explains that 2 nights ago, assassins came in and killed the Emperor's wife, and then shot him in the head with a crossbow bolt. They had brought in a resealer, who Shai's people call flesh forgers, and they had managed to heal the wound to the Emperor, but they were not able to heal his mind, so essentially his mind is empty now. Which kind of makes me think of that one Star Trek episode where the guy was like brainwashing people or something, and at the end it got turned on him, but no one was able to talk to him, so his mind was just empty.
That's scary.
And parodied in an episode of South Park with the planetarium.
I remember the planetarium episode. I don't remember the South Park episode or the Star Wars episode for some reason. The planetarium.
Yep. Alright, the Dagger of the Mind was the Star Trek episode. 9th episode of the first season. It's the episode that introduces the Vulcan mind meld. Alright, so back to here. Shai asked them if they know who attempted...
I was just looking up the episode, sorry. I was just looking up the episode and made that noise, sorry.
Alright, so Shai asked them if they know who attempted this assassination attempt. And they say, we're not certain, but Shai can tell that they do know, but they just don't have enough information to publicly say it. And then Gautona just sighs and says, it was the Glory faction. And pretty much this empire, it's, a bunch of different factions all held together underneath the empire, and so if Ashravan winds up dying, then the faction that would likely take over would be the Glory faction. And pretty much at that point, they'll put their own people in, so all these arbiters would be out of a job. Frava says that all the assassins who did break in were killed. So right now, the Glory faction does not know if their plan had succeeded or not. So Frava tells Shai that, that her job is to remake the Emperor's soul with forgery. In her mind, Shai thinks that they're crazy, and she does not believe that she would be able to do this task. But when Gautona asks her if she can do it, she says, yeah, I can do it. And Frava says that this forgery must be perfect, so that way the Glory faction cannot pounce and be like, there's something wrong with that Emperor. And so Shai...
What are you imagining, Sheta, when you laugh like that?
They're just sitting there all like derpy, and they're just like, something's wrong with that Emperor.
Eyes crossed, just drooling.
Yeah.
Trying to eat his own hand.
Yeah.
Something seems off about him. Yeah, he's the same as normal.
But he's always been like this.
Alright. So Shai asked for every piece of information about Ashravan's life. All the histories and stuff, people have talked to him. And she also wants his personal journals included. Because the histories will all say something, but they're always going to be kind of skewed. So she wants what his actual thoughts are. And she also asked for a test subject to see if she has gained the personality correct. And she's also going to need a lot of soul stone. Frava tells her that she will have 3 months to do this. But Shai tells her that she was planning on this taking 2 years. And Frava explains that they are telling everyone that the Emperor is in a 100-day mourning period for his wife. And so he must be ready when that time is done and present himself. If he's not ready, then the Glory faction will know that they succeeded. And then Shai asked for, a lot of gold for this. And then, from Frava's ease and just agreeing to it, Shai is able to figure out that they're just planning on killing her once the job is done anyway. So Shai has 98 days to figure out how to escape. And that's the end of that chapter.
That's always a good tell. when they're like, sure, you want a couple mil? That's fine. Oh, you also want this? Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're doing
Didn't
a
we see
bad
that
job.
ploy used recently too, or was that something
Yeah,
else
that
I was
happened in
reading?
Peaky Blinders.
Oh, is that where? Oh, yeah, that's where I saw
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Where they're like it's too good of a deal, then it
Mhm.
is.
Anything else from this chapter you two want to go over?
This character is really interesting because she's kind of a bad guy, but she's also like all cocky and interesting.
Bad guy or criminal?
Okay, yeah, a criminal, that's what I mean. Like
Yeah.
she's a criminal, but like everyone around her kind of seems like an asshole, so I'm kind of on her side. Like
Well, you said you were on Thomas Shelby's side. That told me what I needed to know.
yeah, that's true.
It's hard not to be on somebody's side when they seem cleverer than everyone else, too.
Mhm. Like she's already figured out their game and like
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they're really bad at what they're doing. She's the most knowledgeable person there, so
I think it's also easy to be on her side when she's going to be put to death for forgery.
that's true. Well, this is
Forgery of one of the most valuable things in the kingdom, though. If you
but
don't put somebody
actually,
to death for that, what's that?
No, they don't know about the Moon Scepter. They think that she was just trying to steal that. The only thing that they believed that she forged was a painting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, she didn't steal the painting. They thought she was going to steal the painting, as of now. Yeah.
Yep.
So you're right.
Okay.
Just making a forgery was the put to death thing. I forgot.
I don't know why, but
Making forgery an attempted robbery.
Mm-hmm.
in
You don't know why what?
Outlander, in the episode I just watched, forgery in there was a bigger crime than murder. So I wonder if that's an old thing. I don't know.
Probably because it only affects the richest of the rich, so they made it a murder sentence.
No, I mean like one person was charged for murder and one was for forgery, and the punishment for forgery was worse.
That's what I'm
than
saying.
murder.
Forgery will only affect the richest of the rich. Where a murder
Okay.
charge, whatever, who cares? People get murdered all the
Like,
time.
who did you murder?
You
Oh,
know?
another peasant? Who cares? Like,
Yeah. All right, you stole my valuable painting? Put him to death.
that's death worthy.
Yeah.
Well, so I guess that the death sentence is more because she's a soul for it,
Yeah.
not so
that
much
makes
the
sense.
painting.
It's not normal
Well,
forgery.
you know my feelings about the soul stuff. I don't even know that I can disagree. We'll see.
I mean, the things that she can do sounds pretty crazy. Or the things she says she can do.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we'll go on to the next chapter then. So on to day 3. Shai's just sitting in a room, and this room is most likely the most drab room in the entire palace. And then Gautona arrives, and he's carrying a box, and he's followed into the room by Captain Zhu, and that's the guy who earlier was saying that he will enjoy killing Shai. Inside the box are 18 soul stamps made of soulstone. And here we're told that soulstone, it's pretty much as soft as chalk, but it will not chip. So this is a way that it can be carved with very high precision. And then you can burn it with a flame to set it, and it will become almost as hard as quartz. And there's also a thing of ink that's bright red ink that's from a squid. In order to do forgery, Shai needs any sort of or fresh organic ink, and that inks from animals were better than inks from plants. And then Gautona notices that one of the vases from the hallway, is one that Shai had grabbed when she was being brought in because she was curious about their forgers. And Gautona tells her that we don't call them forgers because they don't touch souls, and they also appreciate the past and don't scam people. And then Shai uses a mallet and a chisel, and the bottom of the vase where you put the stamp in, it leaves like this kind of a seal. And then you're able to chip off that or pop off that seal, and then the vase just changes back to just a plain, boring vase.
Like a glamour.
Pretty much, yeah. I think the one difference between a glamour is that this actually changes it instead of just making you look like something different. And Gautona says that as a forger, Shai cannot be trusted without supervision because she will try to escape. And he also thinks that she will be able to bully, bribe, or blackmail the guards. Whatever her type touches, it corrupts. And Gautona says that he can't put manacles on her because she would just be able to turn them into soap with her powers. And Shai thinks about how that would never work because forgery must be likely for it to work, and nobody would ever make manacles out of soap. Instead, she could discover the chain's origins and composition and wind up forging it to making it so that one of the links were weaker by being cast incorrectly and just breaking that link.
I thought that was a clever way to describe how it works. The idea of, you need to actually reach into the history by showing an absolutely ludicrous example that would never happen. But before we even know the rules either.
That's what shows how ignorant they were to just say that. Oh, you can just do anything.
Yep, and Shai tells him that he does not need to worry because she has been promised wealth, so she won't want to leave. And besides, she could have escaped with her earlier plan that she had told him about. Then Gautona points out that she had no way to ignite that anthracite because she had nothing to make it burn. And even if she did, anthracite burns at 2,000 degrees. And
wow, we got a smart guy here.
And Shai thinks about how the plan was impossible anyways with all the different rocks that were in there, because she would have needed to know the history of all the quarries that they had come from. And Shai tells Gautona that he thinks like a forger, but he responds back by saying that he values truth. He questions her why she would do forgery when she can make actual art. And Shai says that her forgery is art. He tells her that it lacks in spirit, and that upsets Shai. But she calms herself by remembering what her Aunt Saul had taught her. And Shai asks him, how he plans on keeping her there. And he explains that Zoo will be with him whenever he visits. And the rest of the time, there will be guards posted, and she is not allowed to talk to the guards. And the second method to keep her there, he is by bringing in another man who walks into the room. This man has milky white skin and red eyes. And Shai thinks that they think that I'm an abomination. And the new man that walked in the room says that if she leaves the room for any reason or alters the rune or the door, then he will know and his pets will come for her. Shai is disgusted to see that they brought a blood sealer into the palace. And the blood sealer pulls out a stamp made from a bone. And Shai thinks about how his pets that he mentioned earlier are human life crafted from skeletons. And then Zoo grabs a hold of Shai and cuts her arm. The blood sealer then coats his stamp in her blood and presses the stamp into the doorframe. And Shai's upset that a person would dare do that to her, but she calms herself by letting herself become a version of herself that was calm even in situations like this. And then the blood sealer leaves. Gautona asks her if she knows what will happen if she leaves. She glares at him because she knows that if she left this room, the blood sealer's undead pets would hunt her no matter where she went. And Gautona tells her that the only payment the blood sealer asked for were her bones if she wound up dying. That's the end of that chapter.
Well, it's interesting that they try to take away my negative feelings about soul magic by introducing straight up blood magic, which is always one of the most evil magics.
Yeah, I'm curious about that magic too. Another point for them being unlikable and for her being more likable. They're hypocrites.
Yeah, I really liked seeing the way she was bluffing him. I like having a guy who's, able to point it out right away. But I also like that he's not knowledgeable enough that he knows the extent of why that's not true. Because he does, she doesn't know what he actually thinks and what he's BSing, but about thinking the blanket could turn into something. And she's like, not really, I think is really interesting. It's interesting to see this conversation just from one side, but from somebody who studies and thinks about the people around her so much. But not get the other side and see what they're thinking.
Yeah.
And I guess one thing I didn't bring up, because it's just been a small thing, but earlier chapters, she was kind of having a hard time seeing because she did not have her glasses. But then I think in this one, they brought her glasses, so now she can see better. So, not
She's
really
a nerd
big
who
deal.
looks at stuff all the time.
Well, it also then matches with some of those covers of the books where she was wearing glasses.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
So you're telling me she doesn't look like this last painted one where she looks like we were saying. She looks like some of the early ones more.
What was the last one I need to go up?
The one where she's got the come hither robe down and the giant fan ready to...
Oh, like a geisha?
Yeah, like a straight up geisha.
Showing the shoulder. She might. She would just need to throw glasses on.
I don't... From how this character's described, she seems to me like kind of one of those mousy artist types or really fixated on their craft. you know, probably kind of shorter and like a little more
Dorky.
fixated on the work, not so much on appearances.
Mm.
That may just be based on the little picture at the beginning of the book, but that's the vibe I get.
No, later she'll take off her glasses and the Emperor will be like, "Whoa, you're hot."
If he
And
does, it'll be because she programmed it into her. That's one of my theories on what she does. Make the Emperor fall in love with me.
oh,
His wife just died.
Yeah, well, I'm
she
saying
can
that's one of the
program
best
him to
ways to get out
forget.
of the kingdom.
But then again, I guess
That would give it away immediately, shit.
I guess
Will not
his
forget.
wife did die, but he still needs to make an heir.
Yep, so I'll pick this random chick.
Mm-hmm. Also, she could program in that their relationship wasn't all that good. Not that he would remember. But, like, yeah, we were always fighting. It wasn't a good relationship. Not like our relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but then the stamp might not work if it's off.
Oh.
You'd have to make it more believable for him not to get along with his wife.
Well, maybe she'll just take chapters from his diary that talk about a part where they kind of fought and make it worse in his head.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah, like this one fight, it was actually really bad. The cops were called. It was really bad.
Yep,
Like,
yep.
The cops were called. He's the emperor.
That's how bad it was, man. He called them because she had a knife.
yeah, see? Mm-hmm. Easy. You can easily do that.
All right, let's just move on. Because we're going to day 5. And one thing you probably noticed, some of these chapters are pretty short.
Yeah, I'm getting some Elantris. It truly is an Elantris book. They're only like a page.
In the style
nice.
of the Elantris books. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it fit the scheme. You had the first chapter, longer one, Raoden. Second chapter, longer one, Sereni. Third chapter, very short, Rathan.
Why the Rathan chapter's got to be so short?
He's a man of few words, Justin.
Yeah.
All right, so day 5. Shai was working and reading through the notes and stuff that she has gotten. Soul forgery takes a lot of studying and work, and she did not think that this task could be finished in the time allowed. Every single day, the blood sealer comes in, takes some more blood from her, and reseals the door, because it lasts for about a day. And Galtona would also come and watch her, and she knew that she would need to manipulate him somehow if she was to escape. And that's that chapter.
Yep, nice and easy.
Not sure how much more there is to say, so we'll just go on to chapter 12. So chapter 12 begins, and Shai presses a stamp into her table, and it turns into a nicer and well-maintained table. How it kind of works is you have the stamp, you press it, and it's like it feels like it actually goes into the wood, and then you twist it a little bit to lock, and that's how it goes in. All right. And Gautona, he asks her, was this really necessary? And Shai tells him that she was tired of getting splinters, and also that carving helps her think, so she's thinking while she's carving these other stamps. And Gautona asks if changing this table was simple. Shai explains that she has rewritten the table's past, so now it's been more well-maintained. And Gautona points out the new carvings that are on it, and Shai says, yeah, I added a little bit more to it. Gautona says that while changing the Emperor's soul is, probably much harder than this, both these tasks, the table and the Emperor's soul, just seem incredible to him. Shai explains that changing a soul is much more difficult. She asks if he knows why she needed to know every single stone in her cell to escape instead of just a couple. And she explains that all things exist within 3 realms: the physical, the cognitive, and the spiritual. The physical realm is, what's around them, what they feel, that sort. The cognitive realm is how an object is viewed and how it views itself. And the spiritual realm, it contains the item's soul, as well as the way it is connected to the things and people around it. All right, and she says that the longer an object exists as a whole, then that is how it sees itself. She explains that this table is made of various pieces of wood, but they have been together for so long that it now just sees itself as a single table instead of multiple separate pieces of wood. And she says the same goes for the wall with all the different stones. She could have attacked each stone individually, but it would have been much easier to attack the whole wall because it saw itself as a wall. Galtona is confused about objects seeing themselves as something, and Shai says that everything has a soul and sees itself as something, and that connection and intent are important.
I found all that very interesting because a lot of times with magic, I always call BS on some of the, some of the aspects of it. But here they've kind of got a solution to it by saying that, how it's perceived by things, what it sees itself as. I thought that was all very, very interesting as a reason for why like different symbols and words do anything for intangible or for tangible random ass objects in the world. So I'm curious to see if that's explored more in here or in a future book.
Mm.
Especially when the magic stuff always seems so mechanical, so I found that really cool. And I also wonder how much of that is true and how much of that is just her people's explanation since they disagree a bit in how things work.
Well, let you know, this is not the first time we've heard of spiritual, cognitive, and physical.
Where else was that brought up?
So here, I'm going to read this. This is from the epigraph for chapter 57 of Hero of Ages. I've come to see that each power has three aspects. A physical one, which can be seen in the creations made by ruin and preservation. A spiritual one, in the unseen energy that permeates all the world. And a cognitive one, in the minds which controlled that energy. There is more to this. Much more that even I do not yet comprehend.
Yeah, but we can't trust those epigraphs.
They've been changed.
Mm-hmm. No, that's really interesting to hear that I had read that before.
Alright, so continuing this chapter. And Shai brings up that she has read from 7 different sources that Ashravan's favorite color is green, but she doesn't know why it is green. She thinks it might be because his brother had died when he was 6, and he had liked green, but she isn't sure about that. And she needs to know something that is specific and 1,000 other things as detailed, so that way the stamp will stick. Otherwise, it may only last for like 15 minutes or so, and it's not going to do for them to have to keep stamping the Emperor every 15 minutes. And Galtona says that she had made her own essence marks, and those changes her. And Shai says that she knows her own soul, so she knows what she can change in order to get the effect that she wants.
That's interesting, too. Most people don't know their own soul well enough to do that, so I think that says a lot about this character.
Yeah. I have wondered, though, if she has changed it enough. I don't know, there was a little bit about her changing her, or having a bunch of different seal thingies for herself, and that maybe this isn't even her real personality.
I was wondering that, too.
Like she's
and then I was wondering, what if it's not her real personality and she actually didn't set this personality? Or what if none of these people are real and this was all a fabrication made for her, or some other nightmarish twist like that,
What? That's crazy.
Like this is going to be some kind of crazy, nothing you just read was anything like it was because everyone's soul was changed and this was just a test you were put in to see if you could, do the final test of the soul thing where they made you lose all your memories and then tested your integrity, or they'd execute you if you couldn't pass, like some crazy thing like that, like none of this is real.
That's pretty wild.
But that's not even a theory. That's just wild speculation. I'm becoming incredibly paranoid at the idea that people can be changed. Things can be changed. How can you trust anything you're looking at,
Yeah.
As a reader.
Very true. Don't trust anything, especially the words of
the words of what? Oh, you're back to that.
Yeah. Unless they're written in steel.
Yeah. Well, we don't know what the equivalent is here.
And Shai asks Galtona about how they are keeping Ashravan's condition a secret. Galtona says they bring him 3 meals a day, and each of the time the meals are returned empty. But in reality, they're only able to feed him broth. Shai asks about emptying his chamber pots, and Galtona says that he's in diapers. Shai says that it might get out that he doesn't need his chamber pots emptying, and Galtona agrees. So
that's probably my favorite part in the whole chapter. We put him in diapers. You dumb fuck! You're not exiting the chamber pots. Like that seems so obvious to her. It's really funny that they wouldn't think of it.
They really do seem like noobs in the deception department.
Mm-hmm. Like I just expected they would have an answer for that when she brought it up. So I think that's funny.
And Shai also suggests that they need to make sure that they have people that they trust not to talk, and to only let in certain people to see the Emperor who have a card that Gautona gives them. And Gautona asks her what other advice she has for him. And that's where the chapter ends.
I think that's dangerous. I think that she's finding his entry to manipulating him. Because she said it would be hard to manipulate somebody like that, but somebody who's giving you any trust whatsoever, if you're a deceitful person, you know, what one little thing is she going to say? Well, you have to do this, and it'll make perfect sense with the rest, and then that'll be her key to escaping or something. So I think he's making a mistake by even talking to her. Because everyone says you can't even talk to these people. They'll make you like clay in their hands. And then except me, I'm the exception, you know.
So we'll go on to the next one, which is day 17. Shai is reading Ashravan's journal, and in it he says that he will agree to the demands of his faction. He will offer himself for the position of emperor, as Gautona has often encouraged. And Shai notes that Gautona had encouraged Ashravan to seek the throne, but later on in the journal, Ashravan speaks of Gautona in contempt. She wonders why the change. And the journal did have instructions to be destroyed upon his death. But since he isn't technically dead, the arbiters think, all right, this is fine, we're not breaking any rules. And
that means there's got to be something really good hidden in there. Something really incriminating against them that I bet she'll put together.
Against who?
Yeah, but
against the what are they called? What's the council people or whatever? The people who are having her do this. Yeah, the arbiters. Something incriminating against the arbiters. But something subtle that you wouldn't notice by just a cursory read.
Since they're all arbiters, does that mean one of them is voiced by Keith David?
Let's hope so. That'd be awesome.
Yep, and the journal was written by Ashravan, and he had written it only for himself to read. And she likes this journal much better than any of the official history. And I think this is also, she had mentioned this is taking place on a day where there's some sort of festival out there, so most everyone's out of the palace. And then Favre and Zu enter Shai's room. Favre says that Shai is progressing slowly, but Shai says that she's actually going pretty quickly, and she is nearly ready to begin crafting some stamps. She will need someone close to the Emperor in order to test the stamps on him. And Favre looks at the table that Shai changed and asks why she didn't stamp it on the bottom in order to hide the fact that it is a forgery. But Shai tells her that she's proud of her work. Alright. And sometimes when she tries to imitate something into being taken as the original, then she will hide it where she stamps it. But since she purposely did this to this table, then she wants people to know that she did it. And Favre tells Zu to leave, and he is upset, but he follows her orders. And as he's leaving, Shai notes that the blood sealer stamp is still on the door. And she thinks about how the blood sealer came every morning at the same time to stamp it. But on some days, he was running a little bit late. On those days, Shai could see that the seal was beginning to dim, but he arrived in time to stamp it before it fully went away. And in her mind, Shai's thinking that she knows why Favre sent Zu away, and why she also came to her when all the other arbiters are busy with this festival. And Favre hints that it would be useful to have an emperor that will listen to a voice of wisdom. And she asked if Shai could make it so that way he would listen to reason when it was said by specific individuals. Shai says that yeah, she could do that, but she would need a reward for it. And Favre offers to allow Shai to be the leader of the smuggling trade within the city. And Shai thinks about how people often make the mistake that forgers and smugglers are the same, simply because they both disobey the law. But she tells Favre, yeah, that sounds pleasant. And Favre leaves and says that she will give Shai time to consider. And Shai is horrified after Favre leaves. She knows the offer for a smuggling leader is false, and this just proves that Favre will have her killed. Favre will now believe that she put this idea into the mind for Shai to plant a back door in the Emperor. And Favre will expect Shai to put the back door in for herself. And Favre won't trust Shai's forgery and likely has her own forger working for her. And this forger will overlook things, and once they believe they can finish the job, Shai will be killed and the forger will do the rest. Shai had expected to be able to plan for the full 100 days to escape, but now she will have to escape faster. And that's the chapter.
Yeah, I like that. I like when they do those kind of conversations and then reveal what was really said and I did not put it all together. That's funner for me than when you're like, because they say some of the subtext you already obviously saw, So I like when they take it a few steps further and show that this character is a lot better at reading people and cleverer than I am. That's enjoyable.
Anything else with chapter 2 you want to go over?
I think that hinting at that is pretty scary. You just adjust him a little bit, make him a little more pliable. Like, that's pretty scary. Like, if I was the emperor and the people around me would do that to me, I would feel it's the highest betrayal ever.
But you wouldn't know.
Yeah, but that's what like if past me ever saw that or ever learned it too, I would. That's awful.
All right. So we'll move on to next chapter, which is day 30. Gautona comes into the room, and he is surprised to see that the window in her room has been changed into a nice stained glass window. Shai had tried multiple times to stamp in the past, but it never lasted more than a few minutes. And then as she was studying the window, she found a small piece of stained glass in the frame, and she figures that this window used to be a stained glass window. Probably broke at some time, and somebody just put normal glass in its place. So then when she changed the stamp for it to being stained glass, when she did that, it took and stayed. Even after all these years, this window still saw itself as a stained glass window. And Shai was finishing up a soul stamp and was putting the setting mark on it, which indicates that there's no more carving to come onto the stamp. And the setting mark always looked like the shape of my pawn, which was her, like we said before, her homeland. And a fun little connection to Elantris, when Serene was at her uncle's house, like the first day when he was making food, her little cousins, they were laughing and making fun of her because she did not know how to eat with my pawn sticks.
So they call chopsticks my pawn sticks, is that it?
Yeah. Yep, that. And
so
it shows that there's a chance that her uncle had been up in this area at some point and learned their food. Shai is sitting in a chair, and her chair she has made more comfortable with her stamps. And Gautona says that he has brought a test subject today. Shai wonders who the arbiters will force to endure her blasphemy, and she is shocked to find out that Gautona himself will be the subject. He says that the arbiters argued about who it should be, and they did not want it to be a lowly person. They did not want to subject them to it. But Shai figures that the other arbiters didn't care, so this actually would be Gautona's idea. And she pulls out her stamps that she's made, and she says that they won't last for longer than a minute, but it will give her an idea if she's on the right track. Even in the best of cases, a soul stamp will only last on a person for a day, so the Emperor will need to be stamped every day. So I guess part of that what you were talking about earlier with asking if this is a real personality, or she was stamped. By this point, it's been 30 days, so she would have reverted back.
Well, we don't know. We don't know. Oh, there's also the secret eternal stamp that changes you at a molecular... We don't know the rules,
Maybe we didn't see the in-between days where they came in and stamped her again.
That's true, too. Literally, anything could happen. I know that so far it doesn't seem like Brandon Sanderson's one to say, here's the rules. Oh, here's this other thing I didn't tell you about, so you never could have understood this, but he could do it at any second.
Well, you kind of had that in Mistborn a little bit with some of the stuff they didn't know with like hemalurgy and that sort.
True, but that's not taking the system we've been following and being like, actually, did you know that if you crunch up the metals and put them on your skin, you can rewrite reality, and that's what's been happening the whole time, or some nonsense like that. That Kelsier was actually wearing a metal mask of metal he put on his face. Kelsier didn't exist. It was the God Emperor all along. That would have been a very bullshit twist to have all of a sudden.
The God Emperor.
Some nonsense like that.
Well, okay. All right, I guess the next sentence here does kind of go against what I just said a little bit. She will fashion the stamps to allow him to remember and grow, so that way he won't revert all the way back to his current state every morning.
Yeah, there you go.
And anyone can do the stamping, and eventually Ashravan could do it himself. But the stamps today she will use will later be combined into a much larger work. And Shai suggests to Gautona that they begin spreading rumors that Ashravan was wounded, like with a blow to the head or something like that. Because she's not going to know all the private conversations that he has had. So by giving him a wound to the head like that, it could explain any memory loss that he may have when he has conversations with people in the future.
Wow, thought of everything, huh?
Mm-hmm. Or that's her crux in her plan.
To do a really bad job. Yeah, he's got a little brain damage, but he's all right.
We'll see. She's gonna... oh, no, I'll say that at theories.
Okay. Okay, Sheta.
I'll only have one theory, and it won't be that in-depth, so no.
And then Shai stamps Galtona's arm with a stamp. He doesn't physically change, he says that he doesn't feel like he changed. She asks what his favorite color is, and he says green. And she asks about his brother, and he says that his brother had died when he was very young. When Shai says that, yeah, your brother would have been a terrible emperor, Galtona gets angry and shouts at her. And then Galtona stops, and she notes, yep, that one lasted for about 1 minute and 5 seconds.
You know, that would be more impressive if we knew what his favorite color was.
It's well known, they said.
No. What this guy's favorite color was, not the Emperor's. Yeah, no, that was stated.
I see.
And it, you know, when she's trying to figure out why, it was really cool. But we don't know Galtone's favorite color. What if it's also green?
It's pink.
Galtona thinks that he remembers having a brother and idolizing him, but he never actually had a brother. And Shai says that it will fade away and that she needs to tone down his anger a little. Galtona says that you have potential, and he hints that she could do better than being a forger, which annoys Shai. She loves forgery, and that is what she was, a forger. And she thinks of one of her essence marks, and that it is one that she will never use, but it's also the most precious of all of them. Galtona asks how these stamps could even work, and Shai says it's because he has been close to the Emperor. She is rewriting his soul to match the Emperor, and it works because he has a familiarity with the Emperor's soul. This is why it allows it to take, but it only lasts for 1 minute since he's not actually Ashravan. She would like to try it on the Emperor himself, but it wouldn't really matter because he couldn't answer any of the questions anyway. And Shai tries another stamp, but this one just doesn't work at all. He asks what it was, and she says that this was a stamp about why he became Emperor, and she thought it was a desire to prove himself to his family and escape his brother's shadow. But Galtona tells her that he knows why Ashravan became Emperor. It's because he wanted to change things. He was humble deep down and didn't write that or say it, but that is who he was. And Shai sees that Galtona treats Ashravan the same way that he treats her, like a displeased grandfather. And she sees that Galtona is a genuine person. Galtona says that she could have been a marvelous artist, and she says that, yeah, I am one. And he asks about the fake paintings that she had made, and that she did the brushstrokes perfectly. So if she could do all that, then how could she make mistakes, like the moon being slightly off? And Galtona figures that she purposely made those mistakes, and he says that the original one that Frava has now is also a fake. Shai explains that she had snuck into the palace to test security, and she also used that time to swap the paintings. Galtona says that she could have just made it seem like she was only trying to swap the paintings, which would have been a lesser crime than stealing the Moon Scepter. But Shai says that she was betrayed by the Imperial Fool at the worst possible time, so it was pretty much guaranteed she was going to get caught.
See, this is what I'm talking about, Sheta. She's got this whole elaborate plan with the painting. How do we know that we don't have a whole elaborate plan with her sending in a fake person to get caught on purpose to do some convoluted thing, you know?
Whoa. So this person is a decoy person? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying that's not my theory. I'm saying I don't trust anything here. Because somebody like this, you know, who knows how many layers in their plans are, you know?
Oh
I just
my
ain't taking
gosh.
nothing for granted.
It's like
And when
Ocean's 11.
I was thinking of, a little Ocean's 11, but a little Usual Suspects. That's the main one I'd think of.
Okay. It's a better one.
I'm going to laugh so hard, though, when this book ends, and there's absolutely not one thing like that, though, with how paranoid I am about everything.
Yeah, I don't know where you're getting all this paranoia from.
And Galtona asks about what happened to the original painting, and Shai tells him that she had thrown it into the hearth and burned it. Galtona is shocked by this, and Shai explains, that her real goal was the Moon Scepter, not the painting. Galtona says that painting was an original Shuzen work, and he is now blind and can no longer paint. But Shai says that no one will be able to tell the difference between his painting and hers, and they will still be satisfied looking at the painting. so there's no harm done. Galtona says that her swap that she made was solely because of her pride, and that she just wanted people looking at her work instead of the original. Shai thinks that there is more to the story, and that she had her reasons, but she doesn't say them aloud. And then Galtona storms off in anger. And that's the end of that chapter.
I'm curious to find out more about Galdone. It's interesting that as she talks to him, she gets more of a sense that he may be, not as corrupt as some of the other people, but we don't really know, so I'm curious to see. And it would be kind of interesting if she's being deceived by him too, I also think it's I also think it's interesting to try to read between whatever she is trying to manipulate him to doing to help herself. I'll be curious to see that revealed, because I think it'll all make a lot of sense and stack up together. And I think it's really interesting too to get to know this character, because everything she says is fake, pretty much. She says as much in her head. And I assume we can trust what's in her head unless she's rewritten her soul, which she very well may have in some way that I don't understand yet. But it's curious the little bits we get to know this character more and more, the things she feels resentful about, and the things she doesn't really give a shit about that much, and weird little cryptic lines she thinks to herself. But you don't trust Galdone, Sheta?
I don't not trust him, but I'm also like, don't tell him too much stuff. Like, she's like giving us some exposition, but she's also like teaching him all these things about how her magic works and stuff.
Well, she even said, right, like, he's trying to figure out how I do this so they'll be able to know when I'm not working on it, So she's aware of that. So definitely whatever she says is very calculated,
That's true.
Hell, for all we know, everything she said that she didn't think is a total lie, Maybe that's not how any of it works, Yeah, if she thinks it, I'll take it for trustworthy for now, but if she doesn't think it, then I'm going to question what's said. It almost makes me wish that this was going to be a longer book so I could play with that longer, But I know that we're going to finish next time, right?
Yeah.
I bet this is going to be one that's fun to reread, whatever it is that happens.
Man, you really think there's a big twist?
I don't think there's going to be a big twist, but whatever she's going to plan along this time, I think will be fun to go back and see the seeds she laid for it with the couple people she's talked to, the little bit she has access to,
I just never thought of it like that, but now, because I just am enjoying the book for what it is. I'm not trying to figure it out yet.
Since when? You always try to figure it out.
Yeah, if there's something in there about it. Right now it's pretty straightforward though.
Man, I'm thinking of I'm trying my best to look where the hand is telling you to look and where the stuff's actually happening,
I see.
Because there's a trick being played in some direction. I just don't see what it is yet.
All right, we'll go on to the next chapter, which is the last chapter of today, day 42. Shai's first teacher in forgery, Tao, has taught her that each person was a puzzle. Scammers tried to pull the wool over people's eyes, but forgers try to make something so perfect, people don't question it. And Shai is now making a book of the true history of Ashravan's life, and it will be a truer one than anyone has ever written, including Ashravan himself. She can see now that he was idealistic at first. He became emperor hoping to change some of the favoritism between all the factions. And there hasn't been one single thing that made him change over the years, though. She could attempt to make a version of Ashravan that will look authentic from a distance, but could be seen as a fake to those close to him. And she stops herself because doing that is not the challenge. That was a street thief scam. And forgers create something that's enduring. Shai was thrilled by the challenge, and she wanted to make Ashravan live. She lies down in her bed, which she has made nicer and more comfortable, and she thinks about why she wants to make Ashravan live. She had stolen the moon scepter, so that way she could put the fake out there and have it on display. Now she could have one of her forgeries sitting on the rose thorn itself. And Shai thinks that she cannot let her pride drive her. And Shai opens her book of notes to the back pages, where she has her escape plans hidden in a cipher made to look like a dictionary of terms and people. She noted that the blood sealer came running in the other day very late and smelling of alcohol. She thinks that if she could get him to come early one day and then get extra drunk that night, then he could wind up coming much later. And she thinks about how the strikers, or like the guards people, how they have a hatred of the Blood Sealers, and she has seen their guards look revolted when they saw him. Shai has begun befriending the guards, even though they are not allowed to talk. After spending weeks seeing her just being placid, they have begun to relax around her, and this makes them easy to manipulate. People assume that forgers use seals for everything, when they actually just use them as a last resort. She thinks that she could try to make a new essence mark for herself, but if she tested it on herself, then the guards would report that she's doing that. And using an essence mark for the first time could go very poorly, so her escape would have to use traditional forms of subterfuge. And that's the last chapter for this week.
I really love the idea that people will underestimate you because you're so skilled that they'll assume you're going to do a very skilled thing, but you'd actually do something much simpler they wouldn't see coming. I think that's fun.
Unless they think that you're going to do something simpler, so you're instead do a more complicated thing.
Yep. See? You got to take it all into account. It's going to be that one Rick and Morty episode where it's just like 10 hours of, I knew you'd do this, so I did this. I knew you did this, so like... Or what else does it? That's the scene in Princess Bride, right? Where they do the poison switch.
Oh,
I think that's a better example. Yeah.
Classic. Yeah.
Oh, I knew you'd do that. So this. Oh, shit. Dies.
Yeah.
I actually poisoned both of them.
Oh, God.
That's a classic.
Yeah, that's a great one of those.
I like how every single time we're cutting back, Shai has made another improvement to her room.
Mm-hmm. And one of those improvements is going to be a big plan of her escape.
Yes, it was
it turned out
table.
that the table master had carved a knife under the table all along.
Oh my gosh! Yes, no, it's true. Because
it wouldn't be that, because that's not believable, but a smarter version of that. You know what I'm saying?
I bet.
Well,
I have a good one. The window. The window is a stained glass window, and maybe one of the panels opens so she can get out.
Don't you think that one would be a bit obvious?
No.
Oh, okay.
Also, if I remember correctly, she's not on the ground level.
Well, that's because actually the bed
table
turns into a ladder.
Yeah.
The table has a parachute in it. A slide. Just imagine that basic idea, but much more well-written and
better.
Working within the actual lore that's been set up. That's my theory.
Yeah.
Imagine this theory, but actually good.
Yeah.
That's how half writing starts out. You come up with a vague idea that sucks and you just make it into a good idea. Nobody ever knows how bad it started as.
Mm-hmm. And that's basically his advice
that is true.
on writing.
Mm-hmm. How often I'm like, and then a thing kind of like this will happen. I'll figure that out later.
Yeah, and it'll be, but really good. Do a good job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this but good. Just write that in the script sometimes.
That's the note. That's Note to self: do this but better.
Yep.
Or you come up with an idea, then when you get to the point, it's just like, this idea just sucks. I don't want to do this anymore.
Why?
But then when you save it, you turn it into a much better idea, and no one will ever know. Everyone will think you're a fucking genius. Secret of writing: write horribly and then fix it later.
Oh, I've done that before in a writing thing. Like when I'm writing something, I'll just write a scene all right, I just need the scene here. And then later go back. It's like, all right, and now it's time for me to fix this so it's not bad. All right. Anything else from this chapter either of you two want to go over?
Not really.
No, I think we talked a lot about it. I do like the upgrades to her room. I feel like this girl's got her priorities straight, just like me.
All right. So then we'll just go to the theories and predictions. And since this is only a 2-week thing, I'm not going to ask any questions. If you have any theories to throw them out.
Yeah, it's either A, she's pulling a bigger con, or she's got a more elaborate thing going. B, just the basic one that we're going to see all the brilliant parts of her plans go together. Or C, the other one I said earlier, that this is all an elaborate test before you get your forgery license from the magical authority. And it's going to turn out all of this is a forgery. The whole castle, everything. Because they're going to be like, people think of a door as one thing, a table as one thing. What about an entire continent? This continent doesn't even exist. None of the people exist. That's going to be the twist. The most asinine thing I can possibly think of there.
What the heck?
I'm thinking of The Prestige a little bit is what I'm imagining things are going to go like. Or
Now You See Me.
Now
the
You
better
See
of the
Me.
Disney
Joe, have you
movie.
watched that yet? The Now You See Me movies?
I still have not.
Okay, then I won't
know
go
I
into it.
should. I just have. I've watched the Prestige.
Oh, they're great.
We watched that together.
Prestige is much better. The Now You See Me movies are some of the stupidest things I've ever watched, and yet some of the greatest things I've ever watched at the same time. They're borderline awful. Yeah, Prestige was Nolan.
Was
yeah,
Christopher
Prestige
Nolan.
is really good. Very good movie. If you haven't
Actually
seen it,
good.
see it. Yeah, actually good. But Now You See Me certainly has charm. But yeah, just basically the plots you see in magic movies where, they're doing the look over here thing. But I think realistically, everything is going to be more or less what it's saying, except maybe what happened to the Emperor, and then obviously she's going to have a plan that we'll see unfold. Again, I wish this was longer because I like those kind of stories. I think they're fun.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I don't know what to guess with something this short.
My guess is a twist ending.
Okay. I see.
Like
So
you had
that's
an
cool.
idea, but you couldn't justify an entire book off of it.
I see. I don't know. Didn't even go to the twist thing like you, so mine would have
it could not be a twist too, because she says that's what a street charlatan does, and she's a forger. So I could also see it being something different, or it could be that she is actually a charlatan scammer all along, and she's just hiding it,
Well, her motives are so far like having a lot of pride in her forgeries. Like if she could pull this off, it would be the greatest like forgery of all time and stuff. So I think she will make a beautiful emperor soul and have him be like the best emperor ever and stuff, and then she'll be really proud even if they kill her.
Like read through the stories, kind of fall in love with him, and then create an idealized version of what he wanted to be that he was too imperfect to be, like a story like that.
Yeah. Then he'll
That'd be
like
kind of cool.
He'll save the country, be like it's just the perfect emperor and stuff.
Just without his own flaws that
without the
that
human
he hated.
things.
Yeah. That's kind of creepy.
Yeah, but it's cool. Like as an artist,
cool.
as her biggest ambition to be like, and also the idea that she doesn't really care about the originals or any of that. She's not sentimental about this art, this painting that will never be again. She's like, well, mine's better. It's an improvement. So like, no one will even be able to tell. So I think she really feels like that, and she's gonna.
I think that makes perfect sense with the themes of the book so far too.
Oh, I have to ask, since both of you do art online and stuff, because I've listened to other podcasts where when people are like artists and they get to this part, how do you feel about Shai burning the original painting?
I think it's hilarious. I think that if it was my art, I'd be pissed on one hand, but pretty goddamn impressed that somebody could make such a perfect version in the other.
I guess I'm not really an artist like that where I really value art. I think if it's gone, it's gone. Like I don't even really like it when they try to retouch old paintings and stuff like that.
Oh, I hate it. It's fucking bullshit. It's not the same painting anymore,
Yeah, it's like, just leave it.
I know it's necessary, but it's a lie. If I go to a museum and see a painting that was supposedly done by a master, I'm like, yeah, this is covered in layers of new paints that new artists put on there to try to touch it up, Total lie.
Yeah, and then that one painting that lady did that was really bad.
Oh god, yeah, that's the best one. See, that thing's a work of art more valuable than the original, in my opinion. So I kind of agree with Sheta, where it's like, my art, I don't think it's so amazing that it needs to exist. However, I'm not a fine, classically trained artist in any sense of the word. But like, my stuff has deep sentimental value to myself, But like, I don't expect the world to give a shit about it. The picture, yes. The picture, yeah. But the original, I don't know. I didn't feel any anger about it. However, when that fucking maybe I do, because it was some senator, I don't remember. They got a copy of Action Comics #1 out of the Library of Congress vaults to swear on instead of a Bible. I was like, you fucking motherfucker, you don't have the right to drag that thing out and risk damaging it for your own goddamn ego. So actually, I guess I was really pissed, because if it's the thing I care about, which is an actual comic from the 30s, one of the most valuable things ever, I get incredibly angry. And if they've made a lot of perfect replicas of that. If somebody just threw the other one in the fire, I'd be up for the death penalty. So now that I think about it, I'm very angry that she did it, I guess.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, I just had to think about the way it matters to me.
That's my art, Joseph.
That's fucking history, you know?
Yeah.
I don't care about some, like, classic Picasso or whatever, but Action Comics #1, yeah, I'll be mad.
Somebody swore their oath on Action Comics #1.
I was so fucking mad at him. I don't know what state he was from, but I would have tried to vote him out. I don't know what side he was on. I don't know anything. I would have voted him out immediately. This was like a year or two ago. That's like, yeah, okay, let me get out the fucking what is it? The like oldest biblical text we have. Let me swear on that. Like, fuck you, you know.
Yeah, just
if
get
you
a
want to swear on the
reprint.
comic, that's pretty cool. I think that was pretty dope, but oh man, I was pissed off at this guy.
Mm-hmm. It's
well,
just
Justin,
like,
if it makes you feel better, it was a congressman, not a senator.
That doesn't make me feel better. Not my state, so I don't need to care. But if it was, my life's goal would become getting him voted out. A guy like that, I'm just going to say it, a guy like that who doesn't care about the integrity and value of something that old, how can I expect them to honor something as old as like the Constitution and our deepest, most deeply held laws and values? No, I wouldn't trust him at all. So whatever state, if you're in that state, I am encouraging you to vote against him. I don't know his name or anything about him, but you do what you need to do.
That's our political stance. That's the first time we talked about politics.
This
guy's
that's my political stance. Yep, that's if a comic gets involved, I'll become political. Otherwise, I'm probably not going to say anything.
You're like, I urge you.
Tried to keep politics off the podcast, but when somebody swears on Action Comics #1, get him out.
Yep, I stand by that 100%.
So it's in the Library of Congress. Do you think they have it graded?
I have no idea. I don't know.
If they did, the grade would go down every time it was touched, just like in Venture Brothers.
Well, if it's graded, it's probably... If it's graded, it's going to be sealed.
I don't know. I think you can see the recording of it. If it's sealed, that's such bullshit, though. Like, I hate when I get the sealing. You have to do it. But, like, how do you know what's even in there, man? You're going to trust the fucking grading people to tell you?
Yeah. I don't know. I've never had anything graded.
With that Venture Brothers episode, Sheta, that's one of the best.
Yeah.
Pulls out Marvel Comics #1, just rips through. What the fuck is this? Where's Batman? Throws it to the dog. It hurts so much, that whole episode.
It has the Human Torch in it.
Yeah, I know.
Great.
The whole episode's told backwards, and you don't realize that, except for the fact that you're watching a number in the top of the screen go up as you see the thing get less destroyed in reverse time.
So it's like that Seinfeld episode?
Kind of.
Okay, all right. So, any other theories you two want to throw out?
No, I think I've thrown out every theory everything I could possibly think of.
I don't think there will be any romance in this book, which is sad.
Well, what about with the Emperor's soul? Like you were like I extrapolated from your theory.
Yeah, that's something, but I think that might be too creepy with the dead wife. Like too
Kelsier
unlikely.
had a dead wife, and you still shipped him with Vin.
Yeah, you sick fuck. What do you mean? You fucking shipped a chick with a corpse. Why are you giving me this? Oh, I think that'd be too creepy. Why is now when you have restraint?
You know what? He tests me every book because not only is the wife not alive, he also is freaking brain dead. It's really messed up. It's really stretching my brain here.
You're having to work hard to figure out, okay, how can I ship this?
Yeah.
There's gotta be a way.
This is a lot. So you're going to brainwash a comatose person to fall in love with you so you can escape a death sentence. So you have to write around the fact that he has a dead wife. Like, how are we going to do this?
You know, when I said that to you, I didn't think they'd actually fall in love. I thought it would be a one-sided love, you know?
I guess since we just have the one person, like the one girl, I mean. Yeah, I don't know. I think she's in love with her work, so there's no story there.
That's probably true.
All right. So now we'll go over to some comments that we've gotten. Starting off, this will be for White Sand, chapter 7 through 12. First of the comments is from Alcade946. Science time! So the picture in the sand was created by a pinhole in a box, is called camera obscura. The text mentioned that the picture was also upside down and mirrored, which is something that happens in real life. The sand in this case is being used no different than a photographic plate or film worked in some of the earliest cameras. I think that it being mirrored might be why Sheta had a hard time understanding the angle of the view from the picture. As for the face, well, I have my own theories, but I also know a lot more about Cosmere lore. Oh, and let's not forget the science that went into planet. A planet or moon that always shows one side of its face towards another is said to be tidally locked with the other object. It's the reason that the Earth's moon always shows one side towards Earth and has a distinct dark side. The planet Venus is almost tidally locked to the sun as well. It might be completely locked in a few million years as the rotation matches up with the sun over time. The reason for the name is that tidal forces make the planet lose its spin until it matches the rate it is orbiting. So in terms of astronomy, having a planet with a day side and a dark side is on solid ground.
Well, I guess we know our scientific consultant now.
Well, at least when it comes to astronomy.
And the proto camera.
Yeah.
True.
I remember hearing about that once a long time ago. The title stuff I've never looked into. I'm not an astronomy expert.
In the diagram of this solar system, the other object, that's on the dark side of the planet that rotates with it, is the Eye of Ritos, which I kind of think of as the sun for the dark side. It looks like it might be a brown dwarf star, one that's still hot but doesn't have enough material for real fusion power. It looks like the sun, the planet, and the eye are always in perfect alignment, and this is actually a science concept as well. When there are two large objects in orbit, they create Lagrange points, or places in the middle where the gravity is pulling equally in both directions, and whatever is at the point can be stable there. So that's another way I can see Sanderson was certainly inspired by real science concepts. I'm not sure what's going on with the moon and this planet, though. It should sort of move around the planet to any point as the planet goes through its orbit, rather than just staying above the border ocean.
I'm sure there's some magic involved, too.
Thanks again. I'm looking forward to finishing this book with you. Yep, a lot of stuff that explains this science. As I said, I only took one astronomy class in high school. That's about my knowledge of astronomy, was that one class.
I did, too, but I didn't pay attention. So I know less than you did.
In high school?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see that.
Yeah. All right, and the next comment for this episode, it was Reader Warrior. Sorry, partner, this is going to be the vibe for this entire episode here. Or this entire here episode.
See? You're getting outnumbered, Joe.
Whoa! That's very topical, because we just did another intro.
All right. And then I think this was him talking about his favorite Transformer. Optimus Prime's my horse in this race, no doubt about it.
Yeah, can't argue with that.
I'll admit, my learning of the Transformer... did he really write all this in... I think he wrote all this in cowboy speak.
Then you gotta do it.
Oh, God. Let's hear the accent.
All right. Optimus Prime's my horse in this race, no doubt about it. I'll admit, my learning of them Transformers don't stretch much farther than Prime, but I surely took a liking to Starscream in that show. Him and that slick fella knockout, too.
Wow.
I've never watched Prime. I think I've watched like a couple episodes and wasn't into it.
Oh, I remember. Yeah, a little bit of that one. I've not watched the whole series.
I've only watched
scattered
the original
episodes.
Yeah, I only watched the original series, and I played the War for Cybertron games, the two of them they had. All right, next, I think this was going into his, I think, overrated animated film. Now I reckon I'm riding in dangerous territory saying this, but them Spider-Verse pictures, especially the second one, just don't sit right with me.
Don't get me wrong, the painting and coloring is mighty fine, but that whole dang film felt like a filler episode on the trail. Mark my words, most of what happened will get rounded up and retold in the first 5 minutes of the third one. The only bit that really stuck its spurs in me was Gwen and her whole world, John with her paw. The way them colors mirrored her feelings was sharper than a Bowie knife. But the rest, nothing but a heap of references stacked up high, like a cattle drive with no steer head in it. And don't mistake me, I like a good nod and wink, same as the next Wrangler. Well, this weren't no story. It was references, the motion picture.
I'm going to be honest. I'm a simple man. They do a Donald Glover playing the Prowler in live action and a cameo by Video Man, and I'm pretty satisfied.
Oh yeah, Video Man was in there.
Yeah, Video Man was in there.
Well, I will say, when I saw that second Spider-Verse movie, I was a little underwhelmed with it.
I was so pissed when that To Be Continued popped up. I was like, what?
Oh yeah,
Why?
I did not expect that either. I went to the movie, and I guess my hopes were just so high, and then the movie did not match exactly what I wanted. I haven't seen it since the theater, so maybe I'll like it better when my expectations are a little bit different. But I went in, and there's a lot that I did like about it. Don't get me wrong, I did enjoy a lot of the stuff, but I was going, I'm like, okay, and then it ends, and it's like, all right, I just expected more. I really liked the first one. The second one was just not what I wanted. But after I see the third one and I see the whole part 1 and part 2,
Yeah,
my opinion on the second one may change.
that's the problem with me too. Yeah, I think that movie's great, but I think it's overrated with how great people online think it is. They think it's the greatest movie ever made of all time.
Granted, I also have never been a fan of shipping Miles Morales with Spider-Gwen. It may be because I read the comics first, and in there, he's like a freshman in high school, and she's like a sophomore or junior in college. So when Brian Michael Bendis tried to force a ship between them, it just seemed creepy, and nobody else has ever done it in the comic. I know in the movie they're both high schoolers, so it's not as weird, but in the comic, it just set me to being like, they should not be in a relationship. And I had a better ship for Miles Morales as well.
Genki?
No,
Ooh.
not Genki. No, it was... I don't remember her name. It was another character from his series that also had powers.
Let's see.
Pull a Kyle
It's like-
Rayner and have it be Mary Jane.
What?
Yeah. Oh, you didn't hear that when Kyle Rayner dated Carol Ferris recently? Ugh,
Wait.
God, no.
Wait, you
Yeah,
said
that happened for a
recently?
little bit.
Not
Yeah.
the 90s?
No, this was a couple years ago. Sometime
Well, that's
after New 52. I don't remember when.
Well, that's what comics do nowadays. Is they don't try to establish relationships. They just go with, all right, what's a cool thing people won't see coming? Boom. And now we have Johnny Storm dating Medusa. They just...
Oh, God, no! I didn't know that one. Oh, God.
You didn't?
No, that's
Yeah.
fucked up, man. That's fucked up for so many reasons. I'm going to have to look that one up. Oh, no.
Yeah, that was during the time. Yeah, Medusa broke up with Black Bolt, and then they had her. This would have been, I think, around. I think it was during the all new, all different Marvel era.
Oh, that's one of the worst periods in Marvel. God,
where you had the where they were trying to switch like all the mutants to be Inhumans because at the time Fox had the movie rights to X-Men, so they were trying to get rid of mutants in the comics.
That's just awful, man.
Yeah, it was bad. All right, then let me go to this next little thing. And while we're sitting around the campfire, I'll tell you straight. Toy Story 4 is good. Cars 2 is great. And Cars 3 is good too. I'll take on any one-on-one duel to defend that hill, 6-shooter style.
Nah, you can have Cars. Toy Story 4, man. Oh, man, no way.
No. Cars is... The first Cars was passable.
Man,
not good.
Bro, how can you be
passable.
mean to Cars? It's for kids. It's like one of the most for kids Pixar movies they have. I can't be mean to those movies. Toy Story 4 is for grown-ups. It's not for kids. That's why that one drives me crazy.
Cars is... It's... I don't know. If you need a good kids movie, you can skip that, watch the rest of the Pixar movies. You got plenty of
I didn't
choices.
say I'd show it to my kid. No, it's a stupid movie, but...
As for Chapter 12, well now, the only thing that stuck in my saddle about that bit That part was a big old panel hollering, "Hi, I'm Trail," right before the artist swapped out.
That sentence confused me, and I need no further elaboration.
All right. At least we're done with the damn cowboy speak. So, next we had White Sand, chapters
New
13
rule,
through 18.
all comments must be in cowboy speak, or we will not read them on here.
But I want to
Can't
try
do that
reading
because
one.
You want to... What, Sheta?
If they do that, though, I want to try reading one.
You want to do your
In
best
the-
cowboy?
Yeah. Joe will send it to me and I'll read it.
All right. So White Sand chapters 13 through 18. This runs from Ald Chad. Concerning Justin liking someone turning to murder pro, did you by chance read The First Law?
No, but Joe tells me I'd like it.
Yep. Yeah. I told Justin, First Law trilogy, he'd probably like it. It's up his alley. Joe Abercrombie wrote it. The books, I've said it on this podcast before, the writing is fantastic. He's a great writer. It's just not my cup of tea when I finish the trilogy. And there's more than that trilogy, because I think he wrote the First Law trilogy, and then he has 3 one-shots that kind of bridge the gap before his next trilogy that he wrote in that world, and I think now there's even more past that. And then next would be another Reader Warrior comment, and this is when, I think this is reaction when I was talking, when we were asking about what characters that you have not seen a live action yet from comics. I have been eagerly awaiting a Booster Gold Blue Beetle buddy story.
Yeah, I agree. 100%.
They technically have been in a live action, though.
Not at the same time, though. That's the problem.
They were both in that one episode of Smallville.
Well, no, that was Jaime Reyes. I'm sure he's talking about Ted Kord if it's a buddy comedy.
Yeah, I know, but I was being technical.
I want... What's his name? Ted Lasso's actor, Jason Sudeikis. They wanted him for the new Blue Beetle for a Ted Kord. I want that. And then I'm all for the Chris Pratt casting of Booster Gold. That's what I want for the DCU to do it. That's my personal casting of the two.
Oh my gosh. I love it.
Yeah, Sheta will die if that movie comes
I
out.
will die.
Oh man, I forgot this actor's name. I need to look it up. He's popular now to play Booster Gold. What was it? Oh yeah, Glenn Powell.
That's my dream casting, but I've seen him do interviews saying that he does not want to play superheroes. So I've taken him out of all superhero fan castings. But that would be my first pick. I do agree with you, yeah.
That's a shame.
Because he's got the smile. What's that, Shita?
I said that's just such a shame.
I'm sure they'll give him enough money to change his mind someday. I mean, he did fucking Twisters. Like, he's not that, like, worried about his, I think he just knows superhero movies aren't doing that well now, and he doesn't want to tank his career. I mean, he was in that movie with Sydney Sweeney, right? She probably told him some horror stories about Madam Web, and he was like, fuck that.
Yeah, do not touch that. Like, I'm gonna do it.
All right, and for Marvel, I read this one comic as a kid with Power Pack and Spider-Man being de-aged that I've always wanted to see on a screen.
DH Spider-Man.
Live action.
Yeah, Power Pack would be sweet.
Cool.
But only if they actually cast little kids. I don't want, like, older Power Pack. That would ruin the whole point. But I also don't want it to be for little toddlers, so I have no idea how you market that movie.
Yeah, because the Power Pack comics, not really. It's small kids, but it's not like a kids comic.
Yeah.
Just do it like the Powerpuff Girls CW show. That they
Fuck
did
no.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say the regular Powerpuff Girls.
No.
All right. Chapter 17. Oh, so you'd like the face in the clouds to make the characters act more autonomous?
I have
what?
no memory of what that's in reference to.
I think we were just talking about the face that was in the clouds and stuff in that book.
Yeah.
Right, and then epilogue. And thus Chris's journey as an Arcanist begins.
Yep.
Oh, the Emperor's soul is so flippin' good, it won a Hugo Award.
Oh, spoiler.
For the Hugo Award?
Yeah.
I think Joe told us that already.
I didn't
And then we had a
recall.
big conversation about what the fuck is a Hugo Award, and we did a whole thing.
Oh, yeah, we did.
I don't know how to judge awards because I don't trust awards. It was a whole conversation.
Yep, yeah.
Right.
I got it.
All right, and then last comment we're going through today from Adelgate. Up to the very end, I kept thinking, I like this Eric guy. He's obviously a badass killer. What if this is like a much younger version of him that goes through a dark arc, then becomes the wise man that somehow is everywhere and just always knows stuff. Then on the last few panels, Hoyt shows up at the end, completely trashing my crazy theory based on nothing.
That's pretty random.
But man, I did like that Eric guy. What?
Yeah, I like him.
Okay. But yeah, I did like that Eric guy. It does leave you wanting at least a sequel, so we get to see the dark side, but oh well. Emperor's Soul,
as long as it's not a comic.
All right, so looking forward to next week. Next week we'll be finishing it, so going day 58 through the epilogue. And
too fast. I'm so intrigued by the magic in this story. This is like the first time I've been really like captivated by the magic, and it's going to be done in two fucking sittings.
Well, don't worry. If you felt this went too fast, you'll get plenty of time with the next book.
Yeah, but what if I fucking hate the magic in that book? Like, oh, our cotton candy magic is so interesting, and I'll be like, oh god, no.
What the heck?
I don't know. If I read something and they're using cotton candy magic, I think I'll be sold.
It's not on a clown world or anything. It's just cotton candy magic. I'm going to be so bored. Why do they even have cotton candy in medieval times? Fuck this book.
It's magic.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. I almost forgot. We almost forgot to do our characters and quotes.
Oh, shit. You're right.
All right.
Are we going to insert it in earlier or just do it now?
Let's just do it now. Who cares?
Okay.
All right. So characters of the week. Go.
My character is the main girl whose name I sadly already forgot. Started with an S.
Shai.
Yeah, whatever. Shai, there you go. I really enjoy a character who says one thing, thinks another. I think this image I have of her of being this weird mousy person, I think is really interesting. Or not mousy, but weird, like, antisocial type person a little bit. And I've liked all the things she's thought about and said. I'm very curious to see if this is going to be the character the whole time, or if this is going to be some BS twist at the end where this character never existed. I'm curious to see.
I'm going to pick, for my character, the guy who she tries the Emperor's Soul on, who kind of knows the magic.
Galtona.
Yeah.
But only Emperor Galtona? Is that what you're saying?
No. Just when he's wearing the Emperor's Soul. I just like him being a little bit smarter and questioning her. Oh, maybe I'll ship them.
I think that's a more realistic ship.
Okay.
But isn't he kind of old?
He's like old enough to be her grandfather. She says that he treats her like
You say that like that's going to stop Sheta.
That only sweetens the deal, Joe.
Uh-huh.
Sheta, have you ever watched the movie Harold and Maude?
No, I haven't.
Maybe you should.
Wait, is it going to ruin that for me, or is it going to be fun?
No comment.
Well, in the movie, there's something about Mary. Mary thought that it was the best love story of their time.
So take of that what you will.
Okay, it's very odd. Yeah, very specific.
All right, and then I guess my character will be same thing as Justin, Shai. I liked her. I enjoy getting a lot of her thoughts, how she thinks about her forgery, how she's changing up her room and stuff just to make it more comfortable, and how she's just able to read people, see what they're saying, and understand what they're actually saying or thinking. Yeah, not too many characters to choose from though in this story.
Not really, no. The Emperor.
Who could in this section? Who realistically could have been chosen? Shai, Gautona, Frava, Zoo, the Emperor, and the Blood Sealer. That's about it.
Blood Sealer seemed like kind of a loser, so.
All right. And now quotes.
My quote is... It's when Frava is trying to bribe Shai, saying that she'll let her run the group, and she thinks to herself, that was always their mistake, assuming they knew why Shai did what she did, assuming she'd jump at chances like this, assuming that a smuggler and a forger were basically the same thing because they both disobeyed someone else's laws. I think that's interesting to see how different criminals would define themselves from each other based on, like somebody just doing whatever they got to do just for some money and for some power compared to somebody who does what they do for the love of the game, and how people in power will just see them as the same thing and don't take into account their true motives, which gives them less power over them. I just thought that was both an interesting comment and an interesting commentary on the character's thought process.
All right, mine's just a very simple quote that I thought was interesting. To forge something, you had to know its past, its nature. I thought that knowing the nature part is very interesting aspect to the magic, to the forging, and so that also with the part where she had to know the feelings of the window to reforge it. I thought that was really cute. Like the widow's like, no, I used to be a beautiful glass window. Like I was meant to be that. Like I thought it was cute to think about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the understanding the nature part, that's a very interesting part of this, what they're doing here.
Yeah. So then, now we'll see how she'll forge the Emperor's soul with that. What was his nature?
Well, see, you're making me think more that she's going to learn his feelings of himself about how he failed at what he wanted and create what he wanted to be. You're making me think more
Yeah,
now.
you like that one now?
I think it fits the themes so far of the story.
Mm-hmm.
All right. My quote is just getting to know a bit of Shai's character. Deep down, she was thrilled by the challenge. She found that she wanted to make Ashravan live. She wanted to try at least. Shai lay back on her bed, which by now she had forged to something more comfortable with posts and a deep comforter. She kept the curtains drawn. Her guards for the evening played a round of cards at her table. Why do you care about making Ashravan live? Shai thought to herself. The Arbiters will kill you before you can even see if this works. Escape should be your only goal. And yet, the Emperor himself. She had chosen to steal the Moon Scepter because it was the most famous piece in the Empire. She had wanted one of her works to be on display in the Grand Imperial Gallery. The task she worked on now, however, that was something far greater. What forger had accomplished such a feat? A forgery sitting on the Rose Throne itself? I just like it because I think it gives a good look into Shai's character and building her and everything, because it's just showing like she knows that all this would be dangerous and everything and that they'll try to kill her, but she still just wants to do it just to see if she can.
Yeah, I like that one too. Really shows her motives. Like she's like a real artist, like a real a passion for her craft.
All right. Yep, so those are our quotes. And then we'll go on to the end of the episode. And I'm getting kind of sick of doing plugs every week, so I think maybe now we'll just start doing them every other week.
Every other week? Profanity Beaver, plug. There you go. See, that was nice and easy.
Okay.
So I guess this will be the week where we do plugs.
No,
Okay.
I'll be saying that every time.
All right, go for it. I haven't posted
I just
anything,
did.
so I'm not gonna say it.
Yeah, and all our social media stuff's in the description anyway, so we'll leave that. So yeah, that's our quick ending to the episode, everyone. So as I said, next week we're finishing off Emperor Soul, days 58 through the end. And then following that, we're going to have our wrap-up episode for White Sand and the Emperor Soul. We're going to have our kind of like a checkpoint with the Cosmere, go over all our thoughts of everything so far, give rankings and everything. And then we'll be going into Stormlight Archive and starting the Way of Kings.
Cool.
So yeah, until then, everyone, go out. And you know what? I decided we're going to start our own NFTs, so maybe get ready to buy some of those.
You're like a year and a half late on that train, man. No one trusts those anymore.
Only a year and a half? No,
I
those
don't
things have
know.
been dead for a while. I think I was reading this thing. It was saying like it was like a report done in like September 2023 that like 95% of NFTs were worthless, were considered $0. All right, everyone, please come back next week.
Sayonara, suckers.
Oh.